Hello. I guess I would say there's a lot within quantum computing. Now, first of all, I think quantum computing is not necessarily as near to happening as we think it, as it's sometimes told to us. It might be quite a long time, but in developing that one application, there's actually a lot going into there. It's helping us think about quantum physics itself in a new way, and I think that's very elegant. So I describe in the book this new kind of notation we use for describing quantum mechanics now, and this has come from quantum computation. And you end up drawing what looks like music. You do kind of bars of music, and you draw these symbols along these lines, and you connect lines up and this kind of thing. It was because we needed to kind of explain to engineers and computer programmers how to do quantum physics, which they'd never had to do before. And this language of writing it as kind of music was a very simple way to do it. But now we've actually had lots of breakthroughs in physics itself this has given us a new way to think about things, and people have realized all sorts of clever stuff. So there's another researcher in Bristol where I work. She's called Julia Rubino, and she does this very cool stuff where they're talking about doing operations with quantum computers where the order in which things are done in time can be a superposition. So it means you don't even sort of write the symbols like from right to left or left to right. You can kind of do it in right to left and left to right at the same time somehow. It's like music that's playing both ways at the same time. So she does this kind of stuff, and they show that you can actually make certain things more practical or work better as a result of doing this, which is the really exciting thing, I think. Yes, I cut it from the book, and originally there were large sections on the relationship between martial arts and quantum physics that I see. It didn't end up making the final book, and I suppose that's a shame in many ways. I think the worldview is similar. I mean, I see them as similar. I would say there's a practical sense in which they're connected, which is that to get good at physics, you need to put in lots of very hard work, and that's the essence of martial arts as well. It's about hard work and focus, and I really think I wouldn't be where I am in my physics career if it weren't for my ability to, focus very hard for long periods of time and get things done and not get distracted. And I learned that skill from training martial arts. Then from a philosophical perspective, yes, I think in my mind at least, I see these connections to the kind of philosophy of martial arts, which to my mind is like Taoism. I'm not the only person who's noticed this, I think, and for example, there's this, I was reading, so I took at some point to reading kind of books. There's like the Taoist books themselves, but there's books about them, commentaries and so on. And I was reading a collection of essays on Taoism, and I came across this essay which is called Zhuangzi and the Happy Fish. And the author of this essay was referring to ideas in quantum mechanics, but in a really knowledgeable way, which I wasn't really expecting. And also this author was like referring to the founders of quantum mechanics, like Heisenberg, like as if they knew them, like on first name terms. And it was a very strange way to write an essay. And I thought, they're referring to to Heisenberg like they know him. And then I looked up the author, and the surname of the author was Yukawa. And this is a famous physicist, but I'd assumed it was just a coincidence. But actually it wasn't. This was the same Yukawa who won the Nobel Prize in Physics. And he was writing an essay on Taoism in just a collection of essays on Taoism, nothing to do with physics. And he was writing about how he'd been inspired to do his Nobel Prize winning work because of the outlook that was expressed in books like the Tao Te Ching. And he quotes a particular story from that and talks about how he sees, it's a very strange story, but and it's not directly obviously related to his work, but he saw this connection, and it gave him a way to think about the world, and he explains how that kind of worldview that was expressed in these books helped him think about quantum physics in this way. So yeah, I think this is a connection people have seen before, and it helps me thinking about it as well. I'd say the first chapter is the chapter where I lay out the ideas and what's new about this book that wasn't expressed in previous popular science books. So chapter 1 is fairly short, but it gets down the basic idea of what condensed matter physics is and why we find it exciting and why we find it to be like a magical thing in the sense of exciting and inspiring. So I think chapter 1 is well worth paying attention to. Chapter 9, on the way out again, is similarly, it kind of recaps that idea, but with the knowledge of all the stuff you've just read. So 1 kind of gives you the idea before you've read it, then 9 kind of goes back to it and re-explains the idea again. So maybe you can take a look at those. I wouldn't really want to pick any topic over any other. I'd say the first half of the book is designed to be like the key spells you need to learn this subject. That's the idea of it. It's the things that every condensed matter physicist needs to know to do it. And then the second half of the book is kind of selected topics from modern research, so cutting edge things that people are excited about. So that's the broad outline of the book, and then I would say within that, pick the thing you're most excited about. I mean, I think that's going to be the most important thing. The enthusiasm you have will come across in your writing. Yes, well, I mean, it's a brilliant thing that you're willing to put in this work just because of your like interest in science and your interest in writing. I'd say it's also a very unique skill. There's not many people who can, both understand the science and explain it to other people, and that's like a harder thing than just doing one or the other. But it's also a very important skill, and if you want to be a scientist one day, actually it's a skill you need to develop, because there's no point in realizing all these things and working out new ideas if you can't explain it to other people. If other people don't understand it, then they won't, get excited about it themselves. So it's a brilliant skill that you're developing, and I'm very glad you're doing it. I would say, in terms of advice, I think the best thing to do is to, pick something where you're genuinely enthusiastic about it, because you can really tell the difference if someone's tried to write something where they didn't really enjoy it, but they felt they had to write something, versus someone who's actually excited about a topic, and then it just comes out in their writing. So I'd say that's by far the most important thing, and it should be prioritized over other things. If it comes down to it and you think, well, it's not quite the right sort of thing, but I really like this, I think go with the thing you really like. It's an honor to have my book selected for this competition, and I'm very much looking forward to learning about what people write about it.